Do you want to know more about Jack Grealish before fame? Well, you're in luck. In this video, I'm going to show you where it all started. Make sure you watch the whole video. We've saved an interesting fact for the end. With an eye-watering price tag of £100 million, Manchester City's Jack Grealish is the most expensive footballer in English history. And it isn't hard to understand why.
Number 10, Jack Grealish, number 10.
He also happens to be one of the most exciting talents to emerge from football's birthplace in decades, and arguably Birmingham's best export since Ozzy Osbourne. But where did it all begin? Where did Jack Grealish come from? And do you reckon he's heard of Ozzy Osbourne?
Evening, Ozzy.
What?
Unlikely, given he doesn't even know what encyclopedia is.
Dean Smith also says you're an encyclopedia of football. Where does that come from?
A what?
An encyclopedia of football.
I don't know what that means.
Now, what Jack might lack in book smarts, he more than makes up for on the football pitch. It's hard to find a time in his life when he wasn't bossing with the ball, and by the age of just 6, he'd already been scouted by Aston Villa. Yes, you heard that right. 6 years old. Most of us were barely toilet trained, and he's playing for Villa. But before you're too hard on yourself, you should probably know. Jack literally has football in his blood. His great-grandfather, Billy Garrity, was capped for England and won the 1905 FA Cup final with Aston Villa. After spending his formative years with Aston Villa Academy, Grealish began making an impression on the national stage during the 2013-14 season with an impressive loan spell with the world's oldest professional football club, Notts County, scoring 5 times in the league as an almost ever-present in the county, starting at 11. With this blistering form and that cheeky grin, it was only a matter of time before he'd get his chance on the international stage. With a deep Irish heritage, Jack spent his childhood playing just as much Gaelic football as regular football, and even scored a point at Dublin's iconic Croke Park during half-time. So, when it came time for him to play for his country, he opted to represent Ireland at every youth level, from under 17 to under 21, initially declining the same invites from the England youth setup. How things could have been different if he'd stuck with Ireland, eh? He wouldn't have played in the World Cup, for one thing. Returning to Villa, he broke into the first team while still a teenager during the 2014-15 season, impressing as a regular during their incredible run to the FA Cup final, earning his first Premier League start in April 2015, and playing the entirety of the FA Cup final. Sadly, a 4-0 drubbing at the hands of Arsenal, and for a while, it was all downhill from there. After being photographed by the Sun taking laughing gas, he was heavily criticised by his manager, Tim Sherwood. But in that delay, it's hard to take him remotely seriously. He was then snapped partying at a nightclub after a 4-0 defeat at Everton, and by the end of that season, Villa were relegated, with Jack Grealish's 16 defeats in 16 appearances ranking as the worst record ever for a single season. Yikes, doesn't look good, does it? But come on, this is Jack Grealish we're talking about. You know, the most expensive English footballer ever. The young Jack spent the next 3 years playing his trade in England's second tier, honing his game, maturing as a player and as a person, which was reflected in his being named as captain and leading them to a long-awaited promotion out of the Championship and back into the Premier League. A local lad done good, and by now, representing the country of his birth. Finally, Grealish took to life in the Premier League with absolute relish, with his talismanic performances drawing a wide range of admirers and, with it, a lot of attention from the world's biggest clubs. After 2 years of crushing it with Villa, Manchester City came in with an offer of sensational money for a player of sensational ability. And the rest, as they say, is history. Thank you for watching this video on the Balls Before channel. Make sure to check out more, and see ya!